The next topic we're going to look at is the heart. So if you think back to previous topics, so the skeletal system, you had to learn the bones of the body, and the muscular system, you had to learn the muscles of the body. This is very similar, and it's just something that you need to know. You need to revise and learn all these different parts of the heart and know what their role is. So the first thing that's important is we need to know which is the right and the left-hand side of the heart. So it's actually the opposite of how we see it. So this side here is the left-hand side. This side here is the right-hand side of the heart. On this diagram, it makes it a little bit easier for you because it shows blue in this area is the deoxygenated blood and red is the oxygenated blood. Often in an exam, it's more likely to be in black and white, so it's a little bit more difficult. You need to remember that. The chambers of the heart has 4 chambers. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The upper chambers are called atrium. So we have the right atrium and the left atrium. And the bottom 2 chambers are ventricles. So the right ventricle and the left ventricle. The vessels are anything going into and out of the heart. So this is a vessel, this is a blood vessel, this is a blood vessel, and these are blood vessels as well. Anything going, a blood vessel going towards the heart is called a vein, and anything going away from the heart is called an artery. So A for away, A for artery is a good way to remember that. One more tip just before we start naming each area of the heart is if you have the word pulmonary, so here we can see pulmonary vein and here we've got pulmonary artery, that relates to the lungs. So it means that it's either coming from the vessel or going to the lungs. One final thing before we go through the names, the valves of the heart, we've got valves here, here, here and here. They open and close to stop the backflow of blood. So as blood flows through, they open to allow blood through, but then they close so the blood doesn't fall back into the chamber where it has come from. Okay, the path of the blood then. So if we start by thinking the oxygen has come into the lungs, through your nose and your mouth, into your lungs, it then gets picked up by the pulmonary vein. So the pulmonary vein takes the blood, the oxygenated blood from the lungs, and it goes through this vein here, the pulmonary vein, into the left atrium. From the left atrium, it goes through this valve here, which is called the bicuspid valve, and into the left ventricle. From the left ventricle, it goes up through the semilunar valve. So this is one of 2 semilunar valves, and it goes out of the aorta. So the aorta turns into 3 separate vessels. So that's how we remember the aorta. Often on diagrams, it's got 3 separate vessels at the top. As this is oxygenated blood, it's then going to go to the body. So it goes to the muscles in order to provide energy. From the muscles, the blood is coming back as deoxygenated blood. Because the oxygen has been used, it's then transferred and swapped with carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is created, so the blood is now deoxygenated. As it comes back to the heart, it comes through the vena cava, which is a vein. It goes into the right atrium, through this valve here called the tricuspid valve and into the right ventricle. From the right ventricle, it goes up, it's pumped up and through the semilunar valve. So this is another semilunar valve and out of the pulmonary artery. Now, because that artery has got the word pulmonary in, we know that it's got to be going to the lungs. So it's going to the lungs to get rid of the carbon dioxide. We breathe that out and to start the process again by collecting oxygenated blood.